Good day everyone, this is your Vedic astrology coach Rajat Kapoor and welcome to my channel The Legit Astrologer. In my channel I make videos on Vedic astrology. I talk about transits and how these transits have an impact on all 12 ascendant or the moon signs. So you must read these transits primarily from your ascendant sign if you were to look at the results from a physical manifestation point of view. In case you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, share this video with your friends. In case you wish to book a personalized consultation with me, you can check out the link to my website in the comments section and the process of reaching out to me. I live in Dubai, so I am available for in-person consultations within the UAE. Today this video is about another retrograde transit that is upcoming, which is the transit of Mercury. Mercury is going to go retrograde and it is going to go retrograde in two signs. On 5th of August, Mercury is going to go retrograde in the sign of Leo and it is going to stay retrograde till 29th of August. So 29th of August is when it will move back in a direct motion. But this direct motion is going to happen in the sign of Cancer. This time Mercury is going retrograde for about 24 days. This is the average retrograde duration of Mercury, and generally Mercury goes retrograde most number of times in the year because it is the fastest moving planet. It is retrograde duration is shorter, usually it's less than a month, and this time it is going to be moving back to the sign of Cancer and then moving forward it will enter the sign of Leo as well. So let's talk about some important dates before I talk about how this retrograde transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs. 31st of July, Mercury enters the sign of Leo. 5th of August, it goes retrograde in the sign of Leo. 22nd of August, it moves back to the sign of Cancer. So that means between 5th of August till 22nd of August, Mercury will be moving extremely slow in the sign of Leo. And then on 29th of August, it is going to move in a direct motion in the sign of Cancer. So it is spending the first few days in the sign of Leo, then it is going to be spending the first few days in the sign of Cancer. During this phase, it is also going through a karmic knot, which we call the Gandanta position, which is the last 2 degrees of Cancer and the first 2 degrees of Leo. So it is going to be retrograde for a few days during this time, which is going to be quite heavy. It is going to be quite karmic. So one has to be cautious in terms of making some important decisions during this phase. Mercury is going to also come in contact with 2 different planets during this time. From 31st of July till 21st of August, Mercury is going to be forming a yoga with Venus in the sign of Leo. And between 16th of August till 22nd of August, Mercury is going to be forming a yoga with Sun, and that is also happening within the sign of Leo. So Mercury is also under the influence of its friend Venus and Sun during this time, which is quite positive for Mercury to give it some good direction. So let's understand what retrograde really means. Retrograde is a state where the planet appears to be moving backwards. It is not literally moving backward, but due to this phenomena, it is more closer to the earth. Its proximity is closer to the earth, therefore it gains cheshta bala, it gains additional strength, and it is powerful and quite karmic during this time. There are a lot of myths which are associated to the Prince Mercury as far as retrogression is concerned. People often have a notion that Mercury's retrograde brings communication issues, brings technological issues. My dear friends, today's world is full about technological issues and communication issues. We recently saw one of the biggest technical problems regarding Microsoft, and that didn't happen when Mercury was going retrograde. So it's a big myth that when Mercury goes retrograde, we should not take important decisions, we should not sign important paperwork, we should be very careful of our speech, our communication, there will be technical glitches, there will be technological issues. These are some of the issues which are a part of our daily life and we have to deal with it. So let's stop blaming Mercury for all the wrongdoings that are happening in our life. Let's not make it a scapegoat. Mercury, from a signification point of view, represents communication, management. It is our intelligence. It is the natural 3rd and the 6th house lord, rules Gemini and Virgo. Therefore, it plays a very important role in growth of individuals. Mercury is a childlike planet. We also call him the prince. Whenever Mercury is sitting alone in the chart, it struggles when it comes to decision making because it has a childlike mind and it needs influence of either a planet such as Venus, Sun, Jupiter, even Saturn to some extent to help it make good decisions. If you notice, Mercury is one of those planets that is neither lording a Kendra house nor it is lording a trinal house. it is lording 2 of the 4 Upachaya bhavas. Therefore, it plays a very important role in growth of individuals. Mercury is the only planet that gets exalted in its own sign, in its Mool Trikon sign of Virgo. So it likes to get exalted there and not in any other sign. Therefore, it is a very self-centered graha. It is a very selfish graha, and there is no harm in being self-centered, self-focused, and the ability to pamper your own self in today's world. That is the most important skill that people should have. We look after everyone in our life, but we lose focus on our own self. This is where Mercury comes in place. Mercury also represents our skin and its related problems. It is the fastest moving graha. So when it comes to making decisions, Mercury is quite fast. It is quick. Retrogression of Mercury brings karmic baggages, brings karmic bondages as far as communication is concerned, your management skills is concerned, your speech is concerned, and the overall growth that is concerned. During this retrograde transit, the opposite of where Mercury is placed. So when Mercury is going through the sign of Leo, it is the sign of Aquarius, which is pretty much active, because this Mercury is going to behave as if it is in the sign of Aquarius. And when it is retrograde in the sign of Cancer, its opposite sign, which is the sign of Capricorn, is going to be pretty much active, and this Mercury is going to be as if it is making a transit in the sign of Capricorn, though it will be in the same house where it makes a transit in your chart, but it will behave in being in these signs, which are the signs of its friend Saturn. Saturn's placement in your chart plays a very important role in order to make an assessment of this transit. Who is going to have the maximum impact of the karmic bondage, of some unfulfilled purpose from your previous birth, in case you're running through Dasha Antardasha of Mercury, of Saturn, Moon, and also Sun. You're likely to be impacted by this transit. If you have prominent planets in the sign of Cancer, Leo in the sign of Capricorn, Aquarius, you are likely to be impacted by this transit. Therefore, it is going to have an impact on a large number of people. Mercury overall is spending considerable amount of time this year in the sign of Cancer and in the sign of Leo, which are 2 very important houses as far as the natural zodiac is concerned. One represents mother, compassion. It is ruled by Moon or Chandrama, and this house represents your safe space. The other house represents future, progression, authority, and this sign or the house is ruled by King, which is the natural father, and Mercury is the child. Let us now understand how the retrograde transit of Mercury is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs. This is how you will read this transit from a physical standpoint. Let's start with Aries ascendants. For Aries ascendants, Mercury becomes the 3rd lord and the 6th lord, the lord of efforts, change, communication, your learning, things that you do from your hands, and also the 6th lord of deaths and diseases, your daily routines, the kind of enemies that you have, competition, and things that you do on a day-to-day basis. This Mercury is going to make a retrograde transit first in your 5th house. It is going to move back in your 4th house. So when it is making a retrograde transit in your 5th house of future, progress, your authoritative position, children, it is looking back at the 4th house. It wants to make some changes, bring some karmic repercussions as far as your connection from your homeland is concerned or your mother is concerned. So this is what the focus of the hour could be. So you might need to improve your communication with the people back home or with your mother, and do things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. Look at your safe space and try to understand that. This is where Mercury is looking back. Now, on contrary, when Mercury is in the sign of Leo, which is your 5th house, your 11th house is pretty much active, which is the sign of Aquarius. Therefore, there could be some gains which are directly linked to your efforts and things that you do on a day-to-day basis. One of the ideal remedies for you could be, since it is looking back at your 4th house, declutter your house, clean the space. Okay, you can also put some plants, bring some green leafy plants at your home, indoors or also outdoors. Another remedy that you could do is walk barefoot on the grass, and that you can do for a few minutes. In case you cannot walk bare feet, you could do it otherwise as well. That is not a problem. What matters is that you spend a few minutes connecting with the nature during this transit. While Mercury, when it will be retrograde in the sign of Cancer in your 4th house, and that will happen sometime around 22nd of August. After 22nd of August till 29th of August, for 1 week it will be retrograde, and it will stay in this sign till 4th of September. This is where you would need to focus a lot on your career and its related decisions. So your work is going to be pretty much active. Some sort of change that is coming at your workplace, you might have to put in more efforts. You might have to build your network and mend certain connections with your bosses or the people that you work with at your workplace. So this is going to play a very important role for you. Okay, overall, I do not consider retrograde as a bad transit, because it is going to come in contact with your 5th lord, it is going to come in contact with your 2nd lord Venus, so it is forming a couple of important yogas for you. And what matters most is that you try and achieve your comfort space. Try and do things that make you feel happy. Take a break and pursue your hobbies during this time. This is the ultimate remedy for you. The other remedy for you could be journaling or pen down your goals. If you use your hands to write, pen down your goals, that is going to help you progress and that is going to help you succeed. And I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Taurus ascendants. For Taurus ascendants, Mercury is an important planet because it becomes your 2nd lord and the 5th lord. Therefore, a yoga karaka for Taurus ascendants, because it plays a very important role in wealth. It is your Dhanesha, the lord of family, that house where you consume those people who you would like to protect, and that planet which rules your future children, progeny. And we also see success. We also see corruption from the 5th house. We also see mantras from the 5th house. So this is a very good indication for you that you need to use mantras during this time while Mercury is going retrograde in your 4th house and your 3rd house for this period of time. So initially it will go retrograde in Leo, which is your 4th house. So it is looking back at the 3rd house. It is making a retrograde in the 4th house. So 4th house Mercury is not very positive. It is one of the Maran Karaka position for Mercury where it loses its significance. So you will have to put in extra efforts to improve your communication. In case you are in a work that requires you to deal with public, you will have to work a little bit hard during this time. You might have to mend some relationship with your mother, those people who are from your homeland. Your comfort space is going to be put at test. So you'll have to step out of your comfort zone because Mercury is looking back at your 3rd house. So it wants you to put in a lot more efforts in anything that you do which helps you earn wealth and which gives you a safe future. See, it is not a bad transit for you, but this is bringing in a lot of learning opportunities. It is making you step out of your comfort zone. As a remedy, what you can do, since your 4th house is involved, which is your home, you must declutter your home. You must check spaces at your household, particularly let's say the north corner of your household, the north space, how it is, and make sure that it is decluttered and it is neat and clean during this time. Your 9th house and your 10th house is pretty much active. So when Mercury is making retrograde transit in your 4th house for the first few days, it is looking at your 10th house, and from the retrograde point of view, 7th from it is pretty much active. This is what Brihat Parashar Horoshastra says. So expect some changes as far as your work is concerned. Some new work is coming in, some new challenges coming in, maybe something that you've not done in the past. If you're looking forward to changing your stream or the line of work, this could be a potentially favorable time for you because your 9th house will also be pretty much active. So Bhagya or fortune will be quite favorable for you. You might go on a long journey, you might go on a spiritual journey as well. If you have some plans, make a trip, and you will have to protect your dharma, your lineage, what you believe in. So this is a testing time for you, and if you do that, fortune favors you during this time, during this transit. If you were to earn wealth, use mantras related to Mercury or use mantras related to Bhagwan Vishnu. So you can use a simple mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. During this time, you are going to be blessed by these mantras. So any mantra that you use that is associated to Vishnu will be very, very helpful during this time. Overall, I do not consider this as a bad transit, and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Gemini ascendants. For Gemini ascendants, Mercury is an important planet because it becomes your Lagna Lord. It is the ruler of your ascendant. It is also the ruler of your 4th house, the lord of self, your overall body, personality, your immunity, who you are in this world, and the ruler of your 4th house, your comfort space, your home, mother, your homeland, those things which make you feel happy, that make you feel content, where you feel most protected. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit in your third house and also in your second house. So while it is making a retrograde transit in the sign of Leo in your third house, it is looking back at your second house. So the Lord of yourself and your happiness is making a retrograde transit in your efforts. So this is what it needs to test during this time. So your efforts are directly linked to your immunity, your vitality, your overall growth, and the growth of your intelligence and your management capabilities. So this is a must do and a must have during this time. And while doing this, it is looking back at your second house, which is directly linked to your wealth, your income, your accumulation, the things that you store, where you store it, okay, savings, your financial management. So you might incur some expenses, or you may take some steps as far as improving your financial management skills is concerned and your financial potency is concerned. Okay, now later this will also go retrograde in your second house. It will be then looking back at your ascendant. So it wants you to make some changes in your life, fix your lifestyle, watch what you eat, be very careful of your diet, have a balanced diet, increase green leafy vegetables in your diet during this time. So anything green that you eat, you are going to be blessed by this transit. There are two colors associated to Mercury. One is green, the other is also black, which is a black with a lot of shine, and that is the most common color of corporate world. That is also associated to Mercury. Mercury, from a wealth point of view, is that graha that represents cash. So this is the time for you to deal with some cash transactions or some financial matters in your life. So be prepared for it. Your 9th house and 8th house is going to be pretty much active. When Mercury is retrograde in your third house, it is looking at your 9th house. It is activating your bhagya, fortune, long distance travel or journeys, spiritual trips. Anything that you do with regards to your religion, with regards to your dharma, is going to bring in a lot of benefit during this time. This is also happening in the auspicious month of Sawan. So make sure that you worship Lord Shiva during this time, because your 8th house is also pretty much active. So it will give you a lot of intuitive capabilities. It will improve your occult affinity and also your interest in learning more about astrology or Jyotish. So you can learn about it. It will help you cope up with any kind of change that might be upcoming. So it could be related to your work, it could be related to your life, and these are some of the things that you have to fix during this time. Be prepared to put in a lot of efforts, be prepared to go on journeys, be prepared to uplift yourself spiritually through this time is concerned. Overall, it is a positive transit for you, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Cancer ascendants and what's happening with Cancer ascendants as far as Mercury's retrograde transit in the sign of Leo and Cancer is concerned. Mercury for you becomes the 3rd lord and the 12th lord. Mercury also shares an inimical relationship with your Lagna lord, Moon or Chandrama. It is the lord of your efforts, change, your learning, growth, communication, younger siblings, things that you do when you use your hands, or your right hand is also represented by the 3rd house. Mercury also rules your 12th house, which is the ruler of your expenses, your losses, your higher self-consciousness, your sleep and bed comforts. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit first in your 2nd house of family, wealth, what you consume, what you eat. It is looking back at your 1st house during this time. So it wants to change yourself. It wants to bring a transformation in your overall body, and for that you will have to put in a lot more efforts. Watch what you eat and take care of your sleep. These are the 2 remedies for you over the next 30 to 40 days. These are 2 things that you need to fix in your life if you were to achieve bigger and better goals for the coming months. The road will be quite easy for you. Mercury is also going to go retrograde in your ascendant for a few days in your 1st house. So that is the time when it is looking back at the 12th house, and it wants to bring some karmic repercussions as far as your ascendant is concerned. Your management capability that needs to be put at test, that would need to improve, because your ascendant and the second house will have an influence of Mercury, Sun and Venus during this phase. So all of this putting together wants to bring in leadership capabilities, authority, communication and the ability to interact with others, and that is what Venus also represents. So this is going to be put at test during this phase. Your speech will have a kind of eloquence during this time. This Mercury is activating your 8th house and the 7th house, because these are 7th from the sign of Leo and the sign of Cancer, which is your ascendant. So your 8th house is pretty much active, which means transformation is inevitable. Be prepared for sudden changes. Suddenness would come in life, and there could be some surprise element, there could be some shocking news as well. So that would depend on your dasha antardasha, how that is playing a role. So be prepared for these kind of changes. Your relationship is going to be put at test. This is an opportunity window for you to bridge a communication gap that might be there in your relationship and try to improve your relationship. Those who are looking forward to getting married or finding a match, this could be a potentially favorable time for you, because Mercury has gained strength during this time and it is activating your 7th house. Overall, I see this as a mixed transit. From a transformational point of view, it is quite good, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Leo ascendants and what's happening with Mercury's retrograde transit as far as Leo ascendants are concerned. For Leo ascendant, firstly, Mercury shares a friendly relationship with your Lagna Lord Sun. So it's more of a neutral planet. Why it is neutral? Because if its lordship, it rules your 2nd house and it rules the 11th house. Therefore, it plays a very important role in all wealth related matters for Leo ascendants. 2nd house is your house of wealth, family, your consumption, what you eat, what you consume, your savings, your accumulation, and how you share your resources with others within your family. This is also the house of your speech. It becomes your 11th lord, which is the lord of gains, your eye, which is primarily or the predominant source of income. Your friends' vital social network, your ability to influence others is also seen from the 11th house. Your purpose of birth is also seen from the 11th house. So it becomes your 2nd and the 11th lord. It is making a retrograde transit in the 1st house and in the 12th house during this time. So while it is retrograde in your 1st house in the sign of Leo, it is looking back at your 12th house. It wants to improve your sleep. It wants to fix your sleep. Make sure that you get good 8 hours of sleep minimum at night, and this is something which needs to be fixed during this time. It wants you to fix your expenditure, not be very much impulsive when it comes to buying something. Make cautious decision, make careful decisions. So your financial management is going to be put at test during this time. While it's making a retrograde transit in your ascendant, it wants to bring certain changes in your own self and how you deal with your money, how you deal with your family and the relationships that you have. So make sure that you take care of some of these things. It also wants you to fix your diet and what you consume, what you feed yourself, how you feed yourself, and make sure that you're having a balanced diet. One of the remedies for you could be eat green leafy vegetables, eat green pistachios during this time to give this Mercury further strength, to help it channelize. This is an important month for you because even your Lagna Lord is going to be making a transit in your ascendant, and Mercury and Sun are going to be forming a yoga, a very powerful Dhan yoga during this time in your ascendant itself. And Mercury is spending considerable amount of time in your ascendant during this year. So you have to make some important decisions as far as your finances are concerned, and this is also one of the remedies for you. Your 7th house and 6th house is going to be pretty much active during this time because these are 7th houses from the sign of Leo and Cancer. Your relationship, marriage, those people who are opposite to you, that needs to be the focus of the hour. So are your daily routines and things that you do on a day-to-day basis. You might have to deal with some debts, you might have to repay your loans, you might have to take some loans during this time, and if it is for your benefit, it is going to be fruitful for you. That will depend on your ongoing dasha antardasha and what's happening. There could be some changes as far as your job is concerned as well during this time. Overall, I consider this as a positive transit for you. The retrogression is not bad. and I wish you the very best. Let's now talk about Virgo Ascendants and what's happening with Virgo Ascendants as far as Mercury's retrograde transit is concerned. Mercury for you is an important planet because it becomes your Lagna Lord, the Lord of yourself, your overall body, vitality, your immunity, and is also your 10th Lord, which is the Lord of Karma, your actions in the society, your job, profession, what you do in order to sustain yourself, in order to survive and be in this world. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit in your 12th house and in your 11th house. So the first half of the time, first few days, it makes a transit in your 12th house in the sign of Leo, while it is looking back at the 11th house. So firstly, it wants to fix your expenditure because that is linked to yourself and your workplace. So your workplace related expenditure are going to increase. So if you're running a business, you might see a rise in your expenditure. For your personal stuff as well, in life as well, your expenditure are going to increase. So make sure that you are using your money wisely and you're spending on good things. If you spend on good things, you're going to have some good outcomes during this time. Avoid unnecessary expenditure, avoid impulsive buying. It is also looking back at your 11th house. I always say that if your expenditure increase, your income should increase as well. So there are very strong chances for you to get either an additional source of income or some sort of increase as far as your financial position is concerned, as far as your income or the ability for gains are concerned. So this is a retrograde transit of material prosperity for Virgo Ascendants because it is going to be retrograde in the 11th house. That is the time it will look back at the 10th house. So it wants you to fix your workplace routine. It wants you to put yourself in a better job, in a better paying job, or creating a secondary source of income. So that could also be positive for Virgo Ascendants during this time. Your 6th house and 5th house is pretty much active because 6th house is the opposite of the 12th house. So while Mercury is retrograde, it activates 7th from its position. So your daily routines need focus. Your health and wellness, it should be your priority during this time. Make sure that you go for a routine checkup. There could be some minor health issues, but nothing major or concerning during this time. It is also activating your 5th house. So positional success, positional growth, your future, that looks quite promising. And this could be a perfect time to pen down some goals that are related to your own self and your work or what you do in order to survive in this world. So be prepared and be ready for workplace related changes and your ability to have some kind of gains. It is for a change an exciting retrograde transit for you, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Libra Ascendants. For Libra Ascendants, Mercury has a very important lordship. Firstly, it is one of the best friend of your Lagna Lord, Venus, and Mercury for you rules your 9th Lord of Bhagya, fortune, long distance travel, long journeys, your dharma, your religion, lineage, father, your guru, father figure, and also your 12th Lord, the Lord of higher self-consciousness, losses and expenditure, your sleep, and the kind of bed comforts that you have in your life. Therefore, Mercury plays a very important role as far as dharma is concerned for Libra Ascendants. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit in two very important houses for you. One is your 11th house of gains and the other is your 10th house of career, profession, or your job. So while it is making a retrograde transit in your 11th house, it is looking back at your 10th house. It is trying to move there. So it wants to fix some decisions that you have made as far as your career is concerned, as far as your workplace is concerned in the past. And you're going to leverage your knowledge and higher self-consciousness. So you need to become more self-aware during this time. Sit down, pen down your strengths, opportunity areas. This could be a testing phase for you. So your decisions need to be right. Take calculative steps. And if you focus on leveraging your strengths, building on your strengths, you could be extremely successful as far as your workplace endeavors are concerned, because gains are favorable during this time. Your workplace change is quite favorable and this could be positive. You might come in contact with some people that you have worked with in the past and this may open some new opportunity for you. So in case you've been trying to reach out and connect with your ex-colleagues, with your ex-managers or bosses. This could be a potentially favorable time to mend these ties, to be in contact with these people and get some benefits out of it and get some favors out of it. While during this transit, it is activating your 5th house and your 4th house. While being retrograde in your 11th house, the lot of focus it has is in your 5th house. So your future, children, the ability to progress, any mantras that you use during this time, if it is related to Vishnu, you're going to be benefited, or it could be related to Mahalakshmi, you will also be highly benefited during this time. So make sure that you use some mantras to strengthen this Mercury, to channelize this Mercury in the right direction, because your 11th and 10th house is pretty much active. It has got the energies of Venus, Sun, Mercury during this time. So a lot is happening within this space. Also, your 4th house is going to be pretty much active, which will help you connect with people from your homeland or improve relationship with your mother and do things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. You want to be in your comfort zone, but somehow it will take you some time to reach to that stage, because you are going to be worked up during this time. So be prepared for a lot of events as far as your workplace is concerned, whether you are in your business, whether you freelance or you are in a job. So these next 40 to 45 days are going to be quite eventful as far as your work is concerned. It is going to keep you extremely busy. While that keeps you extremely busy, make sure that it does not affect your relationship. Improve your relationship with your spouse, with those who are your near and dear ones. Make sure that you keep in touch with people. One of the potential remedies for you could also be to listen to others. Listen to your spouse and listen to your colleagues at your workplace, and take a collective and a collaborative approach towards success. Involve other people in making decisions which are related to your work, and that is going to help you during this time. Overall, it is a positive transit and I wish you the very best. Now let us talk about Scorpio ascendants and what is happening as far as Mercury's retrograde transit for Scorpios is concerned. For Scorpio ascendants, Mercury is a potent malefic, because your ascendant lord is Mars, and Mars and Mercury don't share a good relationship, and it is vice versa as well. For all the Mercurial ruled ascendants, Mars becomes a potent malefic. Now this Mercury is your 8th lord and the 11th lord. So on one hand, it rules longevity, sudden changes, the house of secrets, the house of sudden ups and downs, unnecessary changes, hidden, dark, secret places, unknown territories. It is also your 11th lord. 8th house also represents any kind of debts or loans is concerned. 11th lord becomes the lord of gains, but at the same time this is also the house of enemies. So it rules bigger enemies in your life. It rules obstacles, because this is the natural house of obstacles. 11th lord is not the most auspicious planet for most ascendants because of its lordship. 11th house is good. It indicates prosperity, but the lord of the 11th house is a potent malefic. So this Mercury is making a retrograde transit in your 10th house and in your 9th house. The planet that signifies management, communication, is making a retrograde transit in your 10th house, which is your workplace, which is your career. Expect changes, expect sudden changes as far as your workplace is concerned. So either there could be a change of job, or you could be made redundant, and that could not be in your favor, or this could bring in some changes in your job, some changes as far as your workplace is concerned during this time. So be prepared for these changes at the mental level. In case you were to take a break, go on a vacation, this could be a perfect time, because it will help you balance things out. It will help you balance these energies. You would not want to get into any kind of workplace politics or confrontational situations. See, it is making a retrograde transit in two very important houses you must remember during this time. It is looking back at your 9th house, and when it makes a retrograde transit in your 9th house, it is looking back at your 8th house. So it is bringing transformation at deep level. It will make you go on a journey, and if that journey is something which is spiritual, for religion or for dharmic purposes, it is going to bring in a lot of joy during this time. This is a temporary phase, so expect some sort of unnecessary, unwanted changes as far as workplace is concerned, but this will increase and improve your overall resilience, because your 4th house and 3rd house is pretty much active during this time, which is, it is a test of your comfort space. It is helping you get out, step out of your comfort zone and put in a lot more efforts, which are represented by the 3rd house. You must journal, you must pen down your goals, make notes, use your hands to do something. This is a potential remedy for you during this time. What you can also do is keep and bring some new plants at your house. It will be very auspicious for you. You can put them in your garden, your balcony, or even indoors during this time. Also, another remedy for you is to declutter your house, clean your space, your surroundings, do it yourself. Declutter your workspace as well, where you sit and work. Make sure that it is neat and tidy and it is pretty much organized. Overall, it is a mixed transit for you, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Sagittarius ascendants. For Sagittarius ascendants, Mercury becomes the ruler of the 7th house and the 10th house, your 7th lord that rules marriage, relationship, partnership, those people who are opposite to you. This house represents peace and also war at the same time. Mercury also rules your 10th house, which is the house of profession, your workplace, your actions in society, what you do in order to survive yourself, sustain yourself into this world. The kind of work that you do, it is your karmesha. It plays a very important role for Sagittarius ascendants. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit in your 9th house and also in your 8th house over the next few weeks. While it is making a transit in your 9th house, this is an indicative of taking a long distance journey, or either improving your relationship with your father or with your guru. Your 3rd and the 9th house is pretty much active, 3-9 axis, which indicates start of a journey, going on a trip, or starting something new. This could be a new work as well, this could be a new job, or this could be a new relationship. For those people who are looking forward to getting married, this could be a potentially favorable time, or you could have some karmic changes as far as your relationship which is existing is concerned. So your life needs a lot more focus on 2 things, relationship and your work. Mercury is also going to be making a retrograde transit in your 8th house when it is looking back at your 7th house at that time. So again, a relationship focus is the need of the hour. It is activating transformation, and this is when it is also connected with your 2nd house. Your 2nd house is going to be active during this time. Your 3rd house is going to be active during this time. So the first few days when 3rd house is active, it requires a lot more effort for you to put to either improve your relationship and to prosper yourself, to help you prosper as far as your workplace endeavors are concerned, in terms of your job or what you do in your life. So 2 things need focus. Then your 2nd house is going to be active. There are chances that you might see some sort of rise in your income. There could be an increment, there could be a bonus, or there could be a rise in your pay that is upcoming, and it could happen over the next couple of months. So be prepared for it. In case you were to establish a new source of income, this could be a potentially favorable time for you. Other people might come to you to take your advice. You would play a very important role in solving other people's conflict, giving them advice to become successful. So this could be a good opportunity for you to enhance your skills as far as consultation is concerned, as far as being a consultant or an advisor is concerned. This is also a potential remedy for you that support resolving other people's relationship, resolving other people's workplace related issues, which are going to help you prosper, which is going to help you be successful in this transit. Overall, I do consider this as a mixed transit because it's going to bring in deep transformation, it's going to bring in some sudden changes as well. So be prepared for it, and I wish you the very best. Now let's talk about Capricorn ascendants. For Capricorn ascendants, Mercury becomes the ruler of the 6th house and the 9th house. This is the planet that rules deaths and diseases. It also rules your fortune, which is the 9th house. So Mercury is an important planet because it is your Bhagyesha. So its transit will play a very important role for Capricorn ascendants. 6th lord is a lord of daily routines, deaths and diseases, things that you do on a day-to-day basis. It also represents your growth, Ninth house is all about bhagya, fortune, father, long distance travel, the journeys that you make, your spiritual quotient, your dharma. This Mercury is going retrograde in the 8th house and the 7th house. 8th house is the house of transformation, sudden changes, sudden ups and downs. So your bhagyesha going retrograde in the 8th house is not very positive as far as fortune related matters are concerned. You would not need to rely on your bhagya or your fortune, but at the same time what is going to work well for you is relationship. So your spouse or your partner is going to play a very important role in supporting you in the coming weeks in order to sail through this transit. See, this transformation, though all kinds of transformation are painful, but this is for a greater good. This is a test for you as far as this transit is concerned. Mercury is also forming a Viparita Yoga for you, so eventually you will rise. So be comfortable about the fact that eventually you are going to rise off this situation. And while Mercury is going retrograde in the 8th house, it is looking back at your 7th house, so it wants to improve your relationship. It is giving support of your spouse. It will also go retrograde in your 7th house. That is the time when it will look back at your 6th house. It wants you to fix your daily routines and things that you do on day-to-day basis and not solely rely on your bhagya or dharma. Any spiritual journeys that you take are going to be quite beneficial during this time. Do a Rudra Abhishek. This is the auspicious month of Sawan. Worship Lord Shiva during this time. That is the ultimate remedy for you. This is something which you must understand during this time. Your 2nd house and 1st house are going to be pretty much active. Financial management, rise of finances or some sort of financial change you could expect during this time, which is related to your wealth. So you might need to save, you might need to make some decision where your own money is involved, where your family is involved. And the other remedy is for you to watch what you eat, what you consume. Make sure that you have a balanced, healthy diet, because this Mercury is also activating your 1st house, which is your ascendant. So your personality eventually is going to improve. It is going to bring in the communication and the ability to manage others. So management capability and communication skills are improving for yourself, for you to make some good meaningful relationships and associations in your life. Overall, it is a mixed transit for Capricorn ascendants, and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Aquarius ascendants and what's happening with Mercury's retrograde transit as far as Aquarius ascendants are concerned. For Aquarius ascendants, Mercury is your 5th lord and your 8th lord. It is a very important planet because it rules your 5th house. 5th lord plays a very important role. In my opinion, the most important role for most ascendants, because this rules your future. This rules progress, children, creativity, and if we were to see authority, position or king-like success, we see it from the 5th house and its lord. It is also your 8th lord, the ruler of longevity, sudden changes, unknown places, sudden ups and downs, transformations seen by this house. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit in your 7th house and in your 6th house. Though in 7th house, Mercury does not have the most comfortable position, but at that time it is looking back at your 6th house. So it wants to fix your daily routine, things that you do on a day-to-day basis that needs to be fixed for your better future during this time. When it is going to go retrograde in your 6th house in the coming days, it is looking back at your 5th house, your relationship with your children and how you deal with your children. You will see a change in your temperament, in your behavior in terms of dealing with children is concerned. This is also the time for you to think about your future. You need to fix your daily routines, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, deal with some kind of debts or loans during this time. Make sure that you also focus on your overall health and well-being during this time. While Mercury is making this retrograde transit in your 6th house, it could bring in some minor issues, but this is also creating a Viparita Yoga because this is your 8th lord coming in the 6th house. Eventually, it will help you rise of this situation. It will make you be more mentally aware of yourself, which is going to be good for your future. This Mercury is activating your 1st house and also your 12th house. So the first few days, a lot of focus on yourself, your ascendant. You need to think of yourself. Be the selfish planet like Mercury. Okay, so Mercury does all things in the best of his interest. This is something or the kind of attitude that you were to develop during this time. It is also activating your 12th house, which is the house of higher self-consciousness and also the house of your sleep. 5th lord is activating your 12th house, so your sleep needs to improve, your higher self-consciousness needs to improve. This is going to make you more spiritual. So for spiritual practices, it's also quite a positive time. Make sure you connect with the nature, make sure that you go on travel and you chant some mantras and do some prayers, because Mercury is your 5th lord. This is going to be extremely helpful to deal with any kind of stressful situation. Make sure that you worship Vishnu or you worship Mahalakshmi during this time. It is going to be extremely beneficial for you. Overall, I do consider this as a mixed transit and I wish you the very best. Let us now talk about Pisces ascendants and what's happening with Mercury's retrograde transit as far as Pisces ascendants are concerned. For Pisces, Mercury is the 4th lord and your 7th lord, the lord of your satisfaction, your homeland, mother, your comfort space, okay, your vehicles, assets, your home, and your 7th lord, relationship, marriage, partnership, those people who are opposite to you. This Mercury is making a retrograde transit in your 6th house and your 5th house. Your 4th and the 7th lord making a retrograde transit in the 6th house. It wants you to fix your daily routine. Some decisions that you have taken as far as your job is concerned or things that you do on your day-to-day life, that needs to change during this time. While making a retrograde transit in the 6th house, it is looking back at your 5th house. So it wants you to focus on your future. So change your daily routine, change the things that you do on a day-to-day basis for a better future. This Mercury is also making a retrograde transit in your 5th house for the next coming days, which will be the sign of Cancer as it moves back to the sign of Cancer. So this is where it is quite favorable as far as children is concerned, or birth of children is concerned, or overall family planning related matters are concerned. Or if you already have children, this could be an instrumental time for you to improve your relationship and communication with your children and also with your spouse, with your partner during this time. So love interest can also be pretty much activated during this time. So if you're looking forward to getting into a new relationship, a new connection, this could be a potentially favorable time for you. You must use mantras during this time. So these mantras could either be related to moon, it could be related to Jupiter, it could also be related to Mercury, or chant mantras related to Lord Vishnu. So you can simply chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which is the ultimate good mantra for you over the next 40-45 days. That could give you some beneficial results. While this retrograde transit is happening, Mercury is activating your 12th house and the 11th house. So the first few days, there's a lot of focus on your higher self-consciousness. Your sleep needs to improve. Your bed focus and of course things related to your bed and the bedroom and of course your higher self-consciousness will be the focus of the hour. Make sure that you get good 8 to 9 hours of sleep. So at least 8 hours, that's bare minimum, and you have to fix it somehow. It is also activating your 11th house. So if you fix your life, it is going to support in material gains and comforts, and also your ability to influence others, your ability to create a good impression on others. And this is what the 5-11 axis for you is. If you were to prosper, if you were to grow as far as your overall comfort space is concerned, as far as your relationship is concerned, you have to follow this path and be open to listening to other people, because that is the key in mending relationship, that is the key in improving relationship, and this is something that you must do during this time. Overall, I consider this as a mixed transit for you, and I wish you the very best. So this was about Mercury's upcoming retrograde transit in the sign of Leo and in the sign of Cancer, which is another unique video that I have tried to make. In case you're new, please subscribe. I hope and believe Mercury's retrograde transit brings a fresh aspect towards communication, towards management, learning, and help us learn, upskill ourselves and become a lifelong learner. Thank you very much. God bless you all.